First off, I've got to congratulate Tyson Fury. That was really amazing performance. I had no idea what Peter Fury and Tyson were saying when they were going to prepare something completely different for Wladimir Klitschko, something he'd never seen before. Uh, I had no idea. They said don't go by Tyson Fury's past performances against Christian Hammer, Derek Chisora, because in all them past performances, he couldn't beat Wladimir Klitschko. But we're going to do something different here. We're going to surprise people, and they really did surprise me. I've never seen Tyson Fury fight that way. He looked confident going into the ring. He got in the ring. He was, don't know, I'm not sure he was shouting abuse or shouting something at Wladimir Klitschko to try and get Wladimir Klitschko off his game plan, get underneath his skin. And when they came out with the opening bell, Fury just charged out there, and he started using this very erratic, jerky. It was feinting. He was just trying to fake punches, using his shoulder, jerking around, maybe moving his hand around. And Wladimir Klitschko clearly, well, into the second round, it was clear that Wladimir Klitschko was not prepared for this at all. I mean, it kind of looked like Fury was going to settle down, and he would just move out the road again and just start it all again somewhere else. And I had Wladimir Klitschko totally confused. And Wladimir Klitschko's game plan, I mean, the guy plays chess, and he says boxing is just like a chess match. You want to try and take out your opponent's pieces without losing any pieces yourself. So you want to get hit, but you want to hit the other guy, and the guy that gets hit the most loses the fight. That's what boxing is. And he couldn't get himself in the perfect position to land the shots on Fury without getting hit. That's what he was trying to do. And on some rounds it just looked like Wladimir went for it, and they were the few rounds that he won, the 8th and the 12th. I mean, if Wladimir just took some risks like in the 12th round, that would have been a far better fight, and I think he could have really won it. I mean, Tyson had a perfect game plan. They were moving around. I really wondered what they were talking about, and Fury was doing great. He was being told in his corner what to do, what to watch out for, what he's doing right. They were actually having a discussion. They were calm, and he listened to the corner. And he went and looked at Wladimir Klitschko's corner with Jonathan Banks, and people's fears had all been met. Everyone said that Jonathan Banks was not really Wladimir Klitschko's trainer. Wladimir Klitschko ran his own camp, and Jonathan Banks was just there to help him, to help him on the pads. Maybe give him a little bit of advice, but Wladimir Klitschko was the boss. He was the guy. After Emmanuel Stewart passed away, Wladimir Klitschko was his own boss, and that's what it's been like. So they were trying to give him advice, but Wladimir Klitschko was sitting there thinking himself, what can he do? And he just could not come up with anything. What Wladimir Klitschko really needs is he needs to get a proper trainer now. And when I say proper trainer, I don't mean just someone that's going to give him good advice, because maybe Jonathan Banks, maybe even his brother, was trying to give him the best advice they possibly could for what he could do. But Wladimir Klitschko was not listening to them. He was just... They couldn't wake Wladimir Klitschko up to actually get him to listen to what they were saying. Wladimir Klitschko needs a trainer that's going to come in there and make him listen to him, because when Emmanuel Stewart used to be in his corner, Wladimir Klitschko would listen to him. You would see them discussing, you'd see him taking his advice, you could see Emmanuel Stewart could just wake him up and make him change what his style was, what he was doing. Jonathan Banks could not do this at all, and it looks like there's going to be a rematch, and he needs to get a proper trainer. That's one thing that needs to change. He needs to get a trainer, he needs to look back at the tapes of the fight and see what he can do differently, because he can obviously do things differently. He was making a lot of mistakes there, and he wasn't prepared for that jerky fate, and he wasn't prepared for Tyson Fury being as fast on his feet, for being as quick as he was, and that's what he said in the post-fight interview, if you've watched it. I mean, here's some of Wladimir Klitschko's comments. People were saying, oh, you only landed 18 power punches during the whole fight, or only threw 18 power punches with his right hand through the whole fight. And he said, well, my right hand was not injured. I should have thrown more right hands. I couldn't find the distance and land as many as I would wished. I wish I could have landed more clean shots. Tyson was quick with his hands and with his body movement, I couldn't throw the right punches. Now why could Wladimir Klitschko not throw the right punches? Well, one of them was Tyson Fury had a perfect game plan and was totally putting Wladimir Klitschko off with his fiats and just with his fiats, with his whole body. I mean, he was doing it with his shoulders, he was doing it with his hands. He had Wladimir Klitschko looking everywhere, not knowing when he could come in for the perfect punch like he usually does, because his opponents usually settle down. So that's one thing. That's one of the main things. The other thing is, what I didn't think would be actually a problem, because I have watched Tyson Fury's past fights before, is Fury's reach and height. Now, obviously it's an advantage having a reach and a height. Tyson Fury's 6'9" and he's got a huge 85-inch reach. There has never been a heavyweight boxer. There's been heavyweight boxers that size, but there's never been a heavyweight boxer that skilled, that fast, with that much stamina, that's 6'9", 85 inches. And his weight fluctuates. He's never got a set weight. I mean, I think his perfect fighting weight would actually be that 247 pounds he weighed for this fight. I think if he wants to be serious and be a serious champion, he needs to keep his weight at 247 pounds, not just for the one big fights. And what a lot of past champions have done wrong, and what Wladimir Klitschko has done right, is they half-hearted training sessions depending on who they're fighting. Even Lennox Lewis, he was an Olympic champion, his weight fluctuated. Mike Tyson's weight fluctuated. All these champions, especially Muhammad Ali. I mean, Muhammad Ali, after the first Joe Frazier fight, just got completely lazy. And then after the third Frazier fight, I mean, he just half-arsed it as much as he could through training and everything. And Wladimir Klitschko keeps himself in perfect shape, so year round. I mean, not obviously quite that good a shape, but he keeps himself in shape year round. And then he has every single training session he gets himself down to that fighting weight, and he bases his weight usually on how big his opponents are. The bigger they are, the heavier he wants to be. 249 pounds, wants to be light. Brian Jennings, 241 pounds. Tyson Fury, he pretty much went right in the middle, banged down almost 246 pounds. I think Wladimir was for that fight, just a quarter pound under. So yeah, there's never been a fighter like Tyson Fury at 6'9", 85-inch reach, who's as massive as him, who's as nimble on his feet as him, moves around, the stamina and everything. People used to say Muhammad Ali was quick for a big man of his time, but compared to Tyson Fury, Muhammad Ali's tiny. And 6-inch height advantage, I think about 7-inch reach advantage, 3 stone lighter. So this is, yeah, it's quite a new thing. There's never been a heavyweight this big and that fast. Now, would I say Tyson Fury is as fast as Wladimir Klitschko? No, I still think Wladimir Klitschko is quicker. I think Wladimir Klitschko is stronger, has more power. But with Tyson Fury's extra reach and height, it kind of nullifies Wladimir Klitschko's speed. And with the tactics and everything as well. I mean, Wladimir Klitschko was not prepared for what came at him there at all. I mean, if you even just look at Wladimir Klitschko's sparring partners for his fight, very important. Zeus Frazier, they introduced him as. They said it was Joe Frazier's son. I actually looked at it, and his name is Zeus Mazik. He was in Between the Ropes, or Behind the Ropes or something, the documentary they had on Sky Sports going up to this fight. You're really good at it, you should watch it. And this Zeus Mazik was 6'9", 320 pounds. So Wladimir Klitschko had no problem getting good sparring partners. Another one's Adrian Granite, 6'8". I don't know what his reach was. Zeus Mazik, and there's Richard Towers as well, 6'8". I don't know what their reach is, and I think that's really important. I think Wladimir Klitschko needs to get a sparring partner. I think even if it's the same height with a similar reach, like an 85 or 84 inch reach as Deontay Wilder. Yeah, I mean, they need someone light as well. I mean, If you ever looked at Zeus Mazurek, the guy's 320 pounds. He wasn't prepared. I mean, these guys are tall, but they're not quick on their feet, and the records are shit as well. I mean, Zeus Mazurek, he's 320th, 370th in the world. He's got an 8-2 record. Adrian Grant, yeah, he's got 9 wins, and he's actually ranked number 61 in the world, which is quite decent out of 1,400 boxers. And Richard Towles is just an awful. He's got a 15-1 record, but he's just been fighting bums. So he's not been getting the right sparring partner. And don't think you really can get the right sparring partner for Tyson Fury. You cannot get someone quick like Tyson Fury. You can get people that are big. I mean, the best thing Vladimir can do is look for someone with a good height, preferably taller than him, but with that, 85 inch reach would be perfect. There's actually a perfect guy I managed to find to be a good sparring partner for him. He's still in the heavyweight division right now. Lennox Lewis fought him back in the 90s. The guy's not got a very solid chin at all. I'll see if I can find him just here. I think Lennox Lewis knocked him out in the second round, third round actually they were in. Completely outclassed him. He's not got the best chin, but he's got a longer reach than Tyson Fury, and he's quite tall. Taller than Wladimir anyway. See if I can find him. Here we are. I think that's him. Yeah, Michael Grant. Believe it or not, Michael Grant's still fighting at 44-year-old right now. Doesn't mean anything. As long as he's still active, that's good, and he's got a lot of experience, so he can help Vladimir a lot in sparring. He's 6'7", and he's got an 86-inch reach, longer than Tyson Fury's, and that's the best possible. That would be one of the sparring partners. You'd also need someone who's light on their feet, who's also tall with a decent reach as well. You need someone with longer reach than Wladimir Klitschko. I mean, Wladimir Klitschko fought Brian Jennings in his last fight. Now, people were starting to say after that fight that Wladimir Klitschko is showing signs of decline. Because he lost two rounds, I think it was, to Brian Jennings. And that was the first time Vladimir lost a round since he fought David Haye back in 2011. So this year was the first time he's actually lost a round since 2011. He's dominated every single other fight, including Alexander Povetkin, the gold medalist, only lost one fight in his whole career. I mean, it's an amateur record, WBH champion I think he was. Wladimir Klitschko just destroyed him every round, knocked him down for the first time in his career. So yeah, that's one thing. He's the sparring. Wladimir Klitschko, when he's coming back, I think he needs a new trainer. Jonathan Banks could be the best trainer in the world. Doesn't matter who, because he's not listening to him. Sparring partners, totally their own guys. Yeah, they're big. They're bulky. They're too slow for Tyson Fury. They possibly don't have the reach of Tyson Fury, which is really important. But they need someone quick, and they need someone that's going to, move around in that jerking fashion. I mean, Tyson Fury can do two things. He can do what he did last time, or he can go back to the style against Hammer, and I don't think you'd have Hammer and Chisora, and I don't think Wladimir Klitschko would have any problems with that Tyson. That's what he was prepared for. He was not prepared for all this fiats and all these the jerky motion and all this moving around. I mean, yeah, Tyson Fury does move around well. I mean, that's been obvious, but it was just a completely different style he came out with, and Wladimir Klitschko was not prepared for it at all. Now, the really sad thing I've actually heard from this fight is people aren't giving Tyson Fury a lot of credit. Tyson Fury deserves all the credit in the world. I thought before this fight he could beat Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder just does not have the best skill in the world. He's fast, he's tall, he's got a good reach. Not as long as Tyson Fury's, not as tall as Tyson Fury's, but he's got a good reach. He's got a good power. He's got decent skill. He seems to be open to getting hit, even from smaller guys. I mean, during his last fight, Eric Molina, he had problems with. These guys are not top contenders. And the sad thing is, Deontay Wilder is coming out, and he's really just a poser. He's saying, now it's clear that I'm the greatest heavyweight champion in the world. I mean, the greatest heavyweight champion right now. How? How is it that he's the best heavyweight champion right now? All he's done is beat Bermeen Sturveen, who's just got in the top 10 because he beat Chris Arreola for a title eliminator. I think they were both in the top 20. He won a title eliminator, and he got the WBC belt and got himself into the top 10. That's it, into the top 10. Deontay Wilder beats him, gets the belt, fights no one else like that ever since. He's been fighting guys in the top 40 and top 50 since then. I think I don't know who his next fight is. I hear it's going to be a top 10 fighter. Thank God. But yeah, Bermeen Sturveen's went right back down to in the top 20 again. I think he's number 16 or 17 right now in the world. And what shows how good Bermeen Sturveen is, he just fought someone that's not even in the top 50. Derek Rossi, bummy record, 30 wins, 10 losses, not the best of fighter, and he almost lost. It was like a 95-94 fight. He almost lost to them. So that just shows that Bermeen Sturveen was not that great of a fighter. I mean, he's a good fighter. Clearly deserves maybe to be in that top 20 spot. But he's not this amazing fighter that Deontay Wilder has just destroyed over 12 rounds and should now be looked at as the world champion. That's just nonsense. See, Tyson Fury beat the guy with all the belts, most of the belts. Deontay Wilder just a belt holder. Until he beats the top guy, he's never the top guy. He's the number 4 heavyweight in the world right now, behind Tyson Fury, behind Wladimir Klitschko, behind Alexander Povetkin, who's got a good chance of beating him. Very good chance. I'm putting my money on Alexander Povetkin in May, and that'll be the same time the Wladimir Klitschko Tyson Fury rematch happens. Now another sad thing is Tyson Fury's not getting the credit because they're just saying Wladimir Klitschko. Very casual fans obviously that know hardly anything about Wladimir Klitschko and just don't like him are saying, well, Wladimir Klitschko, he only won the fights because of his size anyway. Now how true is this? Clearly look through his record and look at his fights, it's a load of rubbish. Almost half of Wladimir Klitschko's opponents have been outweighing him. I mean, people can't believe that because Wladimir Klitschko is such a big guy, but yeah, half of his, almost half, I think it's about 45-47% of his opponents are outweigh him. Now, are they all taller than him with longer reach? No, but they outweigh him, and boxing is a weight sport. It's not a height sport, it's not based on reach. You don't have categories for height and reach, you have categories for weight. And he's managed to display how good he is, even against larger opponents. And this same cannot be said for all champions. A lot of the time, the champion would be bigger than most of his opponents. I think this is one of the rare cases where 47% of his opponents have been larger, outweighing him. Now, obviously, how many of Wladimir Klitschko's opponents have been actually the same height and outreached him or out-heighted and outreached him and outweighed him? And there's been quite a few, but I've put down the main ones here. Derek Johnson, 6'6", same height as Wladimir Klitschko, outreaches him, 82-inch reach, outweighs him as well. This guy weighs 260 pounds. Okay, I'm not even finished writing this. Jamil, 6'6", was a top contender. That was in between two of his last losses. He had a 82-inch reach as well and outweighed him again. Then Wladimir Klitschko's best probably KO against a really heavier, an opponent that massively outweighed him, was Pia Wolfgren. He's a silver medalist in the 1996, just behind Wladimir Klitschko in the games. People thought he was going to be the next George Foreman, the way he was going through the games knocking everyone out. Then he got to Wladimir Klitschko. Wladimir Klitschko completely outpointed him. He had a 45-pound weight advantage. I think it's like 285 pounds. And Wladimir Klitschko knocked him out in the first round, so he didn't have problems there either. Tony Thompson, almost the same height, 6'5", 6'5.5", outreaches Wladimir Klitschko again, had a weight advantage. Wladimir Klitschko beat him again. Whack, 6'8", outreaches him again, 82 inches, weight advantage over Wladimir again. Wladimir beats him, clearly. Now, I've got to put Brian Jennings in this, because this Brian Jennings is really interesting. Because Brian Jennings is the first time Wladimir Klitschko has had a massive, been at a big disadvantage with reach. Everyone thought Brian Jennings was just a small guy. If you actually look at him historically as a fighter, not just to compare him to this era, he's actually quite a big guy. He's 6'3", 228 pounds, 84-inch reach, which is massive. That's a massive reach. It's far bigger than Wladimir Klitschko's. And this actually did cause Wladimir some problems. He wasn't used to this. He said he was having problems finding his distance, just like he was with Tyson Fury. So I think Wladimir Klitschko just needs to get used to this. He needs to go back, change his tactics when he looks at the tapes of Tyson Fury. He needs to get a new trainer, someone he listens to, and he needs to get decent sparring partners to work against this new style with. And people say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, and this is probably true, but if anyone's going to improve, it's going to be Wladimir Klitschko, because he's completely changed his style from what he used to back in the days when he was getting knocked out by Corey Sanders. I mean, he's completely remodeled his style. He's far better at defending himself, and he tried to use that again against Tyson Fury, and he had some success, and I think if he took more risks he could have pulled it off. But he really needs to learn from this, because there's so much he can take away by looking back at the tapes and seeing what he did wrong, and seeing that he's going to have to take risks, and seeing that he needs a new sparring partner, and he needs new trainers. Yeah, I think Wladimir Klitschko was just sitting there waiting for him to make mistakes, being defensive, waiting for him to make mistakes, and trying to expose Tyson Fury, but it just didn't happen, and he left it too late into the later rounds, and he kind of just went for it in the 12th, which he won clearly. It's a pity Emmanuel Stewart wasn't around in his corner then. It would have been far better. I think that's pretty much everything I want to say.